Ed Dinsmore, Police Chief, Johns Creek.
Mike Bodker, Mayor of Johnson's. So I'm very fortunate. I think I enjoy a very positive working relationship with our chief. I try to leave him alone and certainly respect the independence of our police department. I think that all mayors should respect the independence of the police department and allow their chiefs to do the job professionally. As it relates to CALEA, I couldn't be more excited that we are in the CALEA program. I think that for me, the CALEA program does two things. One, it allows me to feel confident that we are ascribing to the highest of standards, that we are forcing ourselves to have rigor that maybe not all departments have to have. The second thing is, and I can just use a simple example, I got a call from a citizen who was concerned about the kinds of incidents that are happening around our nation today. And the question that she asked me was, can I feel confident that this department is doing all that it can to ensure that we don't have this kind of thing happen in Johns Creek? And I just simply had to look to the CALEA standards. And down the line, they are preparing departments, whether they realize it or not, to ensure that those kinds of things have a very low likelihood of happening. And of course, we can never absolutely prevent these type of situations, but I feel more confident and I sleep better at night knowing that we're following those CALEA standards. In fact, in our case, of course, we've now ascribed to the gold standard. So I'm very proud of our department. As just today, we received Gold Standard with Excellence. One of the things that I receive on a regular basis is anti-litem notices. For those of you who don't know what those are, that's sort of the shot across the bow that a lawyer gives to let you know that they're suing you for usually tens of millions of dollars. And when it's related to police incidents, one of the things that I rarely concern myself with is whether in fact that's ever going to be something I need to worry about. Because I know that from documentation to the procedures that we follow to how we investigate the incident after the fact, all of which are part of the CALEA standards, that we have pushed ourselves to do the very best that we can, to handle ourselves as professionally as we can, and that while mistakes always happen, and you can't control every individual, I feel confident that being a part of the CALEA program, especially being part of the gold standard, really probably means that in the end we will save ourselves literally tens of millions of dollars in what otherwise could be very, very expensive failures and lawsuits.
In today's environment, I don't know how you can't. As the mayor's spoken to, from a chief's perspective, in dealing with almost anything that you're going to deal with these days, allegations of corruption, ethic violations, use of force, which is a big one now. When you're involved in the process, you're training to those standards, you're documenting to those standards, you've got all kinds of proof of compliance. And not only that you're measuring those standards, it's best practices, you're staying with current trends. And you also get the benefit of networking with other agencies that are CALEA agencies. If you're wanting to look at your policy, if it's something on policy now on body-worn cameras, you're not going to sit there and reinvent the wheel. You're going to reach out to other agencies that already have the same policies, that are already using body-worn cameras, and you're going to adapt your policies from theirs that are already meeting best practices. There's a huge benefit right there. And then you want to talk about training and documentation, as the mayor talked about, when you face something that even though the officer did it right, but you're getting sued. And the first thing they're going to go after is your training records, your hiring records, disciplinary records. It takes us a few hours to gather all that information, get it and provide it to the attorneys or whatever the question may be. And a lot of times when citizens are coming or the media is banging on your door and they want some questions or some answers, you provide them to them. It's a huge transparency issue that you're able to provide that documentation. There's nothing behind the curtain. And like I said in summer, I don't know how in today's environment you can. And the money issue, again, as the mayor, what we cost to get us is really peanuts in what you could be compared into a negligent supervision, hiring and disciplinary standards. You're going to pay out millions of dollars in that. So the whole money aspect, I think you're looking at it through the long lens if you're saying it's too costly to do it.
Not to mention, Chief, I've got to believe that it has actually helped you in recruiting.
Absolutely.
So that's a cost savings in and of itself. Instead of you having to go to all the trouble to actually go find recruits, recruits want to work for an agency that's making itself the best of the best.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think the other part of it does for that officer standards is they know when it comes to a promotional policy, they know exactly what the policy and what it's going to take, what the requirements are to get promoted. or hired for that matter, going through the hiring process. It removes that good old boy, or you're just a buddy of the chief or a good friend and you're going to get promoted. It takes all that completely out of the game. And I think, especially given the younger generation of officers who are coming up, they want to see that. They want to know what it's going to take to get promoted. They want to know what it's going to take to get hired. Where's my career path going to go? And those issues are all addressed in the standards. They're all right there to do it. And so again, it's not only transparency for the community, but probably just as important, it's transparency for the officers in the organization as well. They know exactly what's going on at any time. They're part of, and when you get it into the process, it becomes part of the process. It's all they know. And I would venture to say, if you took some of my staff and you put them in a non-accredited agency, they would probably, well, I know for a fact, they would be going, I don't know what's going on here. And to Mayor's point again, some of the officers I've just hired have come from other accredited agencies. And the gentleman I just hired from another agency said, I was only applying to this agency because it's accredited. And I think that's a pretty strong statement.